This is Star Wars: Death in the Undercity by West End Games, excuse me. Rebel agents battle a plot to plunge the ocean world of Calamari into a bloody civil war. Plus the Quarren profile book, a bonus section. Right? For adventure for use of Star Wars, a role-playing game. This would be published in 1990. And what would you say the opening? A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. It is a critical time for the rebellion. Starships provided by the Mon Calamari have significantly bolstered the ranks of the rebel fleet. The Calamari Cruisers are all that keep the tiny rebel fleet from complete destruction at the hands of the evil galactic empire. However, a string of mining accidents, which may be sabotage, have slowed production of the Mon Calamari starships to a near standstill, denying the rebel fleet its most valuable assets. Now a small transport makes its way from one of the many stations orbiting Calamari to one of its largest cities. The rebels aboard prepare themselves to fight the invisible enemy. They must succeed, or the rebel fleet will suffer a setback that could well mean the difference between victory and defeat in the coming battles. Yeah, okay, The introduction. The Old Republic is no more. In its place stands the evil galactic empire, emphasized on large capital print, right there, evil galactic empire. The scheming Emperor Palatine's cast a shadow trailing blah 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 blah. In this venture, rebel agents are sent to the Calamari system to investigate to slow down the starship construction. Begins a routine inspection, becomes a struggle against the invisible opposition of Imperial saboteurs. These saboteurs, surgically disguised as Mon Calamari, have infiltrated the... Jeez, can you imagine how much... I mean, just give it a thought. I mean, you're taking a human... That's what usually the Imperial agents are, and you're going to surgically alter them to look like a Mon Cal. Right? With the big eyes on the side. Just saying. That's a human. No, okay. Preparing to play, difficult numbers, adventure materials. Really, technically, this particular module is a difficult one, and it goes on through here occasionally talking about difficult roles and the difficulty range. So it's meant for a more experienced set of player characters. You may have to modify things to make it work, it says. Adventure materials, adventure background. We're all familiar with, if you're Star Wars, you're familiar with Calamari. And the Mon Cals and the Quarren. Main gun PCs, Episode 1, Arrival. Out of control. As the adventure opens, rebels are in a lot of trouble. The automated traffic control system is tampered with by Imperial infiltrators, locking their shuttle onto a collision course with the main dome of Quarren City. Wisp of white slide passenger hurtle through the gray sky. Below, the sea stretches out across the face of the planet, broken only by the occasional reef. As your craft plummets to earthward, the Quarren City leaps into view in the monitor. Great shadow of the massive underwater structure reveals its position and silhouette. Only the top bubbles rise above the froth in the windswept sea. The engines grind as the shuttle bucks and lurches into a gut-wrenching spin, directly toward the main dome of the city. What do you do, right? How do you survive? The rebels contact traffic control. The dispatcher tell them that its instruments show them on course to the proper speed. Please hold while I check the backup systems. In about 10 seconds, the repairman confirms that there is some kind of malfunction in his instruments. Their craft is going way too quickly. It's on a collision course to the city. He does not understand what is wrong with his equipment. Some panic filters to his tightly controlled voice. If you can pin it down, you might have a chance to survive. There is an escape pod aboard the shuttle. Unfortunately, in atmosphere this high speed, using the pod is quite dangerous. Probably collide with the shuttle's wing in the moment ejected. If the rebels eject from the shuttle, see using escape pod below. Taking control, grinding manual control. Nice little picture going, autopilot malfunction. Hey guys, who's flying the shuttle? The computer's lost its marbles. Quite impossible. It's not quite impossible. First, the PCs will have to bypass the automated control system with moderate computer programming repair. and then a second moderate computer programming or starship repair. Failing to bypass the autopilot or rig the control mechanism is not necessarily disastrous. There is time enough, barely, for a second attempt at either of these tasks. Second attempt will be rushed, making it a difficult task. If the rebels fail twice at either task, however, they will have not enough time for a third attempt. If the rebels did not succeed in 2 attempts at the first task, 15 seconds before impact with the city, the shuttle's repulsor engines cut out and the vehicle slams into water, so you splash down. They succeeded at first but failed the second. They will have to shut the shuttle down and go to splashdown. If they do not, they will crash into the city, killing the rebels and a good deal of the city's population. Reset for another try. Bring her in. And just give that for a minute for a stock, alright? Let's just say the player characters fail in the opening gambit and crash the shuttle into the city, causing a horrendous amount of death and destruction. And of course the cost of their lives, which means these were probably the best rebel agents they had available for this task. So in comes the next best, and this is where you chance you get to create some secondary characters and deal with the fact that you already had a big problem with the first attempt. The city's got a problem. Bring her in, splash down the escape pod, welcome committee. Rebels reach the city one way or another. They will be met by Mon Cal, accompanied by an escort of 2 Quarren security officers. Inside the city is a forbidding, dimly lit, uncomfortable damp. This place gives you more of a chill than the near freezing temperatures can account for. Disembarking, you see 3 figures heading your way across the bay. Gray-robed Mon Cal wearing an ornate talismans that signify rank among his people, flanked by 2 stern-looking Quarren in the gray-green uniforms of local security. Mon Cal is Calbrack, the highest-ranking representative of the city, the Alliance in the city. He's a dedicated supporter of the rebellion. He is well into his middle age and has chosen to take the administration role planet-side where he feels he will be most effective. He is soft-spoken, personal, introduces himself, reading the rebel delegation, his brothers, and struggle against tyranny, and expressing his distress and concern over their near-fatal mishap, or perhaps their fatal mishap, since now we're scraping the bodies out of the shuttle wreck, and he's wondering and touching his hands, wondering what's going to happen next. Traffic control, the debriefing. Mon Cal expressed concern of his people over the slowdown that warns the rebels that Quarrens are reluctant to acknowledge that there is a problem. The Mon Calamari and the Quarrens enjoy a tenuous coexistence that was shattered if each other side began to harbor doubts about the other. Unfortunate, it's just such doubts that have made it impossible for the Calamarian Council, composed of equal numbers of Mon Cal and Quarren, to isolate and neutralize the problems with the mining operation. Since Council intercession and workings, you're not on blah blah on this planet. Permission to come to Council, you're here to behest leaders of the Mon Calamari people to investigate the Quarren people. If this is found out, it will lead to a break in the Council. So don't open your mouth. We want to see if there's something wrong going on, and you guys are going to intervene. The baddish bit. It's accident reports. As you're led to the main dome by your new friend, as you near the administrative sector, the passages become wider, more comfortable. When you last reach the chief manager's suite, you're escorted in a large office, lavishly decorated with what passes for opulence in this dreary place. Standing behind him is a table, honky Quarren draped with robes of office, calmly gulping down some kind of bubbling purple beverage while attempting to appear cultured and elegant. Standing behind him is a tall Quarren, as narrow as the other is wide. The dour fellow is expression evidence of obvious contempt. Whether it is for his porcine companion or your contingent, it's hard to tell. Morin Chunk, chief manager of the city, greets the rebels nervously and introduces his assistant, Kelmet Wolg, who repeats the greeting with barely veiled dislike. Turns Calbrick, introduces the rebels to chief manager. Wolg watches proceedings with John aside, breaking bread, talking about, some of the accident reports. For example, 20 Q4 board droids malfunction, creating a series of structural instability in tunnels A, C, D, and F. Vibrations caused by tunneling equipment triggered a collapse of tunnels C and D. 4 workers were killed and another 3 were injured. In light of the risk presented by the affected area, I recommend that operations on level 15 be halted until Sector G can be sealed off. An uneasy alliance. The traitor. No matter what is said by whom, the assistant manager does not trust them. He makes his almost pathological hatred for Outward was patently obvious, responding only to questions with a little more than a hostile grunt. Vogue will become quite angry if he feels that the Alliance thinks the Quarren are to blame for the slowdown in the mines. He will launch into a tirade blaming the unreasonable demands of the uncaring Outworlders for the accidents and have claimed lives of dozens of his people. How dare you to suggest the Quarrens that blame for your problems? For generations we worked the mines without serious incident. With this new schedule forced on us by your Outworld Alliance, we are pushed to our limits, and dozens have died trying to provide you with the ore you need for your precious warships. If anyone is to blame for whatever slowdown you seem to be experiencing, your own uncaring demands on the people who want no part of your damnable rebellion. Good night. Episode 2, A Night on the Town. Left to their own devices, rebels are free to do as they please for the evening. They have been cautioned against wandering about the city unescorted. They meet Waf Merv, a native who offers to take them to an establishment where they can mingle freely with the locals. If the PCs go to the bar, they will be accosted by a group of Quarren thugs hired by the disguised Imperial infiltrators to do them in. That pretty much explains how this particular episode is going to go. Here's the long drink, the bar that you get to have a big bar fight in. Games of chance, the free-for-all. Says after the rebels have been at the bar for an hour or so, a group of 8 Quarren punks strut into the bar from a tube leading from the docks. They seem to be known to the patrons because the hush falls over the bar. Only the rhythmic slapping of the waves against the outside of the bar disturbs the sudden silence that heralds their approach. Wear black coats, the same thick material worn by miners draped with chains and adorned with strange symbols, the obscure white cast markings of some kind. Hey, you landlubber, I don't like the way you whatever. Says, welcome to More Jack. Sorry we couldn't greet you sooner, but we were busy looking for the hairy filth that are murdering our kinsmen in the mines. You wouldn't happen to know where we could find an outworlder scum that foul our waters with their stench, would you? No matter what the rebels say or do, the punks are going to take it badly, twisting their words and mocking them cruelly. If they try to leave, that Quarren will surround one or more of them, pushing and shoving them heavily. In short, they will do everything they can to incite a fight. Just following orders, the docks. And when the fight is over, the rebels are questioned. The thugs, assuming the rebels win, low-life scum will refuse to answer unless threatened by some way. Interrogated privately, they will claim that they were paid by someone named Lolgar to try and kill him. They don't know why, don't care. Lolgar is sitting in a bar earlier and must have just slipped out in the confusion. Just at that time, the rebels hear a repulsor craft engine starting out at the docks. And you're going to have we go from a fight to a chase. Right? And so you have a pair of skimmers, you got 2 speeder bikes, and a modified swoop among your choices. So 1 or more vessels you're going to hijack. And then we have the chase, the Quarren thugs, modified skimmer, the bad guy trying to catch him. Right? Said if he's caught, Logger will give the rebels a 6-mile and ask why he's being harassed without his guards to back him up. He's just a coward and will buckle under the most perfunctory interrogation. He claims he doesn't know who hired him. It's just some fish head flashing a lot of creds. The fish head is Quarren slang for Mon Calamari. Episode 3, Going Under. The next morning, Calbrack takes the rebels on a tour of the extensive underwater mining operation. On the way to the mine staging area, narcotic gas is introduced in the air, supplied by Imperial saboteurs, drives the Quarren aboard into an intoxicated frenzy, trapping the rebels thousands of feet underwater in a bathysphere full of crazy miners. On arrival at the mining site, the rebels are greeted with another unpleasant surprise when they are arrested for the murder of chief manager and taken to the brig to await a trial. So, all aboard. Get into the big craft that's going to take you down to the mines. Footprints of it. A picture of approaching the mines below. Start with a normal conversation, and as things go on, have some difficult perception rolls make. It's a lot of moderate to difficult rolls in this campaign. module. So just saying that this is definitely for a above average group of players. At this point, have all the PCs make difficult perception rolls. Success indicates the characters notice the Quarren have begun to act strangely. They're talking louder than necessary. The speech is somewhat slurred. Some of the miners seem distracted and clumsy. At some point, they break out into a bunch of crazy things. Miners will agree to treatment only if the rebels explain clearly what's going on. As they get progressively more and more drunk, this is quite difficult. To agree to a treatment, the miner must make a perception roll against a difficulty equal to 25 minus the rebel's bargain roll. That is, if the rebel's bargain roll is 19, the miner must pass a perception difficulty of 6. If the roll fails, the miner drunkenly believes the rebels are trying to kill him, and then must be forcibly restrained. The needle in the haystack. Obviously, once they've determined there's a poison gas in the vasosphere, rebels will want to find and disconnect the source of that gas. Unfortunately, the ship is loaded with places where a small gas canister could be hidden. They do not specify where they are looking. The rebels must succeed a very difficult search roll to find it. And there goes the AW. Booby trapped. Source of gas, small device concealed in the atmosphere plant. If the rebels try to remove the device, give the character attempting a moderate tech roll. If he successfully discovers the device is booby trapped. The rebels specifically state he's checking for traps and technical roll is easy to spot. Trap a small but almost trivial quantity of explosive. Be harmless if not for the proximity of highly flammable pressurized gas tanks in the atmosphere plant. Blow up the ship. Extreme depth. Oops. Oops. Yeah, right there. Oops. Attempting to bypass the trap, failing, or taking off the poison canister without having found the trap will initiate the detonation sequence. Counting red light will start to blink, flashing faster and faster. At this point, the PCs will have one last chance to disarm the detonator before it goes off. Pulling a correct plug requires a very difficult technical roll and will stop the sequence very last moment. A tiny red light in the back block. On the black body of the detonator you worked previously, you can see the little right out of the corner of your eye. It starts to blink faster and faster, and flashing becomes insistent, flickering. Suddenly, the flickering stops and light goes out just as you complete the bypass, disarming the trap at the last possible moment. If the attempt fails, the detonator goes off. If the gas tanks have been moved to the other side of the vessel, it does trivial damage to the ship. Easy technical roll to repair. And a 2 die plus 1 damage to the disarming character. If the gas tanks have not been moved, however, oops, cubed. Right there. Oops, cubed. If the pressurized gas tanks have not been removed, the fireball fills a small capsule. The rebels making disarming attempt take 6d damage. Characters remaining by the shuttle take 5d damage. Characters in other parts of the shuttle, engineering, supply closet, or cockpit take 4 damage. Fortunately, the hull is stronger than anticipated, does not rupture. There is a massive structure damage, however. The craft will move erratically as it continues on its course. In addition to the main ballast controls have been damaged by the explosion, the shuttle cannot return back to the surface without extensive repairs, which cannot be made from the inside of the shuttle. Rebels will have to continue down to the mines. And then we go from bad to worse. Short minutes after the first symptoms appear, the effects of the gas become more pronounced. The Quarren miners begin acting very strangely, start talking and laughing loudly, too loudly as if drunk, shifting to basic their own language and back. One of the Quarrens pick up this moment to begin an anti-Outworlder tirade, blaming Calamari and the non-Quarren for their Quarren's troubles. He accused the rebels of being there to steal the Quarren's mining secrets so that Calamari and the Outworlders can mine oceans themselves, driving the Quarren into poverty. Making up this speech, slur your words and slip in the occasional word or two in Quarren, try gurgling. Other Quarren agree and attack the rebels. With drunken murderous intent, arming themselves with various tools to use as bludgeons. Okay, party just keeps getting better. Rebels and the Quarren are effectively limited to melee weapons. Nobody in his right mind will want to fire a blaster in a pressurized bathysphere of almost a mile underwater. Therefore, the rebels should be especially disconcerted with when the pilot in the bathysphere stumbles out of the cockpit waving a blaster around. 5. The rebels must knock out all of the Quarren and more importantly disarm the pilot before he fires. If anyone fires a blaster in the capsule and misses his target, roll the blaster's damage with a die cap of 3 against the sphere's hull, code of 4. Yeah, out of the frying pan. Upon arriving at the staging area, the rebels were greeted by more than expected dignitaries and technicians. Gliding down to the ocean floor, you bring your sphere to a graceful landing on one of the many platforms arrayed at the staging area just above the great trench itself. During the landing, you notice an unusual amount of activity on the docks. When you disembark, you find yourself in the midst of a huge crowd. A full unit of 8 security guards holds back a mob as another makes its way toward you. It says, shortly after your departure this morning, routine inspection revealed the body of Warren Chunk, chief manager, concealed in your quarters. By authority, you come at Wog, acting manager, hereby under arrest for attempted murder. You are fortunate that Chunk is not yet dead, or we would not be able to restrain the mob, even if we were willing to. Consider this arrest protective custody. And we move to episode 4, The Accused, where you're imprisoned, interrogated, visiting hours, trying to escape, being framed. And we have a floor map of the mines. After him, lost cause. As the rebels choose to escape when the guards are killed, they can do so with relative ease. The guards' bodies are within long reach. Yeah, we want to step back as to hair on that one. Once you're told Warren Chunk has passed beneath charges murder and Wog is convincing and he needs to look no further than this cell to find the killers. Your guys have gotta go. Then you're framed. Another hour passes uneventfully after Clubrex departs or something. One of the guards gives a croaking scream, falls to the ground. Another guard follows. Cloaked figure strides up the door, prods the bodies with a foot, then looks up at the rebels, pulls back a coat, revealing unmistakable features of a Calamari. The Mon Cal grins evilly, hits the alarm, then tosses a spent blaster in with the rebels, and read, "Talk your way out of this one, rebel scum." As if they ask fast and have a weapon on hand, the rebels might be able to get off a shot. Any shot will be at a +7 difficulty because of surprise in the cover. The Imperial Spy. As the assassin makes good escape, Quarren voices can be heard approaching down another corridor. Rebels have 2 choices. They can stay where they are and attempt to tell the Quarren what really happened, or they can try to follow the spy. If they try to talk to the guards, go to lost cause, otherwise after him. The rebels choose to escape. The chase begins. Lost cause. Approaching Quarren revealed to be a reinforced squad of 16 security officers. If the rebels try to reason with them, they're almost surely doomed to failure. Evidence is right in front of them, and any stories of mysterious Calamaris discounted by district attempts to cloud the issue. Yeah. Mon Cal killed 2 guards and then gave you a blaster? That's insane. They would never do such a thing to hurt our relationship with the Alliance. The fishheads love their rebel friends even more than they detest us. You should have concocted a more convincing lie. You're as foolish as you are vile. Disgusted, the guards leave the prisoners, promising that justice will not be long in coming. In the distance, they can hear the Quarren lynch mob calling for their blood. A friend in need. Shortly after the guard camp leaves, or at any point in this episode when the rebels find themselves in dire need, facing imminent death, the rebels hear an unmistakable sound of a crowd approaching. There are some shouts, a few muffled blows, and the door opens, and there's Wayleth Merv, the disreputable-looking Quarren who lured them into the bar, and in a company of half dozen of the bar's patrons. Merv tosses the rebels some weapons, hustles them out of the cell past the unconscious guards of their bodies of their guards. The whole city is buzzing with this thing. Everyone is madder than a dry lungfish, saying that you outlorders are trying to screw up our lives so you can turn a profit for yourselves. They all think your Mon Cal story is a load of entrails, something cooked up to spread the guilt. We know it's true because it was the cow who paid me to lure you to the bar last night. So I thought it over and I figured there must be some crazy fishhead trying to throw a spike into this alliance. That made me mad. I may not believe in the rebellion thing myself, but a deal's a deal. We gave our word to you guys. The Quarrens don't break their word ever. I tried to tell the powers that be about the cow who paid me, but I'm a nobody, so nobody believed me. Talked over some of these guys from the bar. We decided better to bust you out before the bottom-feeding assistant manager did something permanent to you. The rebels questioned Merv about the Mon Cal payment. He learned that Mon Cal was cloaked and hooded, so Merv couldn't recognize him. Just happened to be in the neighborhood. I'm going to help you all out. Good luck. Anyway, episode 5, The Meltdown. So, after extracting themselves from the brig, the rebels are free and unmindful of Quarren, who want them dead in the company of a rogue who has provided them with the probable identity of their invisible enemy. Rebels and their few Quarren allies set out to confront the deep miners. At first they faced the opposition from the Quarren themselves, but at last the Imperial spies are unmasked, and the Quarren see their true enemy for who and what they are. So brother against brother, the docks. Suddenly Merz points to a group of Mon Cal deep miners who are standing by their ship on the other side of the docks. Read, "There's the real enemies, not these outworlders, the fish heads. They're trying to screw up our mining operations. They're the ones you were resting for. What are you waiting for?" Everyone turns to look at the cows. The cows stand uncertainly at that moment. And then, as some of the assembled Quarren begin moving toward them, they pull their blasters beneath their robes and fire a salvo. The Quiet Branch. The infiltrators are Imperial intelligence agents from Destabilization Branch. According to the official record, the Destabilization Branch specializes in taking the fabric which holds a society's people or government together and unraveling it. See the Imperial Sourcebook for more details. I will review that book in the future. The Calamari Project originally intended to pit the Mon Cal against the Quarren to bring the Council to a deadlock. Destabilization agents are among the most highly trained in the Empire, often at odds with their own bureaucracy. They are ruthless and more than a little paranoid. Instead, Destab agents are not assigned, they're unleashed. They're unleashed. Unleash the Hellcats! That's from a different thing. Unmasked, hot pursuit, ambush, search and destroy. Board droids, in-game. Come out with your hands up. The Imperials' plans. The rebels tell the Imperials to surrender. The commander's answering laugh rings out. Fools! Imperial intelligence officers never surrender. We complete our missions or perish in the attempt. For our Emperor we die gladly, and we will take you with us, and this cursed mine with us. And when the mine is destroyed, your rebel fleet will be set back years. Years, I tell you. The Quarren economy will be devastated. The Quarrens will blame the Outworlders or the Cals or everybody. They're in the most important world, and this misbegotten alliance will be engulfed in civil war. That is more than worth our insignificant lives. Now die. Alliance of pure bright light flashes now in the corridor, superheating the ore and melting through the wall behind them as if it was butter. Quite simply, the Imperials have turned the mining laser platform on, and they plan to drive the vehicle to the entrance of the mines and burn a hole through the wall, separating it from the ocean. That'll do it. That'll do, pig. Running the final battle. Mining laser. Epilogue. NPC templates. Right? Now, this last section, the Quarren, this is actually pretty interesting. This is where their way of introducing another alien race to the Star Wars game system. We got the history between them and the Mon Cals, the Long War, the Great Power Struggle, time of separation, the Quarren of today, the city of Morsjeslanank. Game Master notes on the city itself, why it's so important. Various generic templates here. So we've got a typical Quarren, security officer, a thug, an urchin, a gangster, flailer, lampfish, chorn. These would be some critters. Some common water denizens around in and around the city. New player character templates, the Quarren, aquatic beings, Mon Cal. Some character sheets for them specifically. There's a Mon Cal pilot, a Mon Cal mediator, Quarren deep hunter, Mon Cal technician. Right on. So, there you have it, in a nutshell. The mighty Mon Cal Cruisers are the cornerstone of the rebel fleet, the key to victory over the massive Imperial Navy. Powerful starships are supplied by the citizens of Calamari, a planet entirely loyal to the lands, at least on the surface. Not a bad one. Death in the Undercity. I can't say I ran this one. I honestly cannot say. I don't remember having ran it, so hopefully, if you guys get it, you see it, get an opportunity to take advantage of it.